Spawning at the bottom left, we got our red Terran playing for Shopify Rebellion. And hailing from Korea, he is Byun.
And his opponent, also hailing from Korea, playing for Kaizi Gaming, it is our blue Zerg player, Solar.
Alrighty, so best of 5 for the finals here to determine who will be going home with that nice little chunk of change, as first place does go home with $300. Of course, second place does go home with 100, so not too shabby as well, but I'm sure these players would like to go home with at least the $300.
Yeah, looks like nothing too out of the ordinary just yet. We're going to see a very standard hatch gas pool from Solar. And then, of course, Byun, I expect he's going to put down a low ground command center after the barracks finishes.
So as we wait for this game to get underway, interesting thing to note, a little bit of a tidbit. Of our 4 semifinalists, only one of them is currently participating in the DreamHack Last Chance tournament, as well as has enough EPT points to make it to the IEM Katowice tournament. And that player is none other than Solar. So right now, Solar, you had to wonder, is he maybe... I mean, we're 13 days out or so from the Last Chance tournament in terms of the playoffs. Or not the playoffs, the group stage. You had to wonder, is he wanting to hide some builds, or maybe even test some builds using this Alpha X tournament?
Oh, that is a good point. I know one player who has no such qualms, and that would be Astrea. He's, oh man. He has a build for every hour of the day, you know, like yeah. Yeah, it's always a treat to get to see these guys play, of course. Like you said, you know, if they do have a build, there's obviously no guarantee that they're gonna reuse it in Premier tournaments. But when they do, it's always a treat for us.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, come out with all the crazy builds, and we as the caster will definitely enjoy it. So
yeah.
we'll take it.
Looks like nothing too out of the ordinary again for this game. You know, we see the quick third command center coming out for Byun, delaying the starport just a little bit in order to get it out. These queens are really hungry for that Reaper, actually. Not quite able to find anything just yet, but yeah, Reaper just, you know, being a little bit of a nuisance, making sure that the queens are on their toes, making sure that the creep doesn't go uncontested.
Now, you know, when you were saying like how the queens were really hungry for the Reaper, I started to think, where do the queens eat from? I'm like trying to zoom in here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't see the mouth.
Yeah, they have like mandibles, right? But they don't have like orifices in their heads. Although, I think if I recall correctly from the lore, Zergs receive their nutrition from creep directly.
Oh, really?
Like they absorb nutrients through their feet or whatever. I think that's how it goes.
Okay, maybe that's why they bathe in it, or those green slimy things.
Right. Ugh. Man, I never thought I would be a Zerg main. The first time I tried Zerg, I almost threw up. I was looking at the graphics and I was like, "What am I playing? Like this is such a disgusting race." And now I look at Zerglings and I think they're the cutest thing ever. You know? Oh man.
How the minds has changed.
Yeah, really. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a very safe standard Cloak Banshee opener into a 3 racks for Byun. Hellions are going to poke and prod, not quite able to find any damage just yet. Man, I'm not gonna stop thinking about that for the rest of the night. Just how do they eat, you know? Although I'd say the more important question is why are Hellions not biological and why are Hellbats biological?
Right, that is a good question, actually.
Oh, that was an insane timing on the drone. Because the Banshees have a firing animation, they were not actually able to kill the drone just before the fourth went down. They were able to force a cancel and then kill the drone afterwards, but what insane timing. Oh my gosh. Solar with the drone Spore Crawler Micro, able to keep that drone alive. Very, very nice. 4 drones have gone down because these Hellions are coming into the third base. They will get cleaned up eventually, but not after taking down, what is that, 7 workers? Yeah, pretty decent.
Yeah, so thus far, 8 drones, 18 lings versus 6 Hellions and 1 Reaper. And I'm sure Byun is very happy with that. Now, of course, all the Hellions were kind of sacrificed for that attack, which means that right now Solar really has the kind of the has this freedom to just basically creep up as much as he wants to, and also probably to drone up as much as he wants to, because really there's nothing left to attack or harass until, of course, the Marines can come across the map. But of course, they do have to wait for their medevacs as well as the combat shield to finish.
Yeah, it looks like Byun is about to hit a very, very crisp 1-1 timing, but like you said, combat shield is not done quite yet, so all that these Marines have is Stim. Stim, of course, is a very, very good spell or ability, but Baneling speed is already done. I don't think this double drop is going to do too much damage, right? Because the tanks are still at home. So, yeah, I think these Marines are just here to sort of scout around a little bit, kill some creep tumors, head on home.
Excuse me.
Oh, bless you.
Kind of took a sip there and then went to the wrong pipe or something. All right, sorry. All right, looks like the Marines are looking to maybe take onto the, I guess, the 12 o'clock base, but I'm gonna think twice of it.
Yeah, I really like that positioning where the Marines just were, because imagine if you put tanks on the low ground and then you can drop the with the medevacs, you can drop the Marines onto the high ground and harass the mineral line. And then, of course, the tanks just aren't really reachable by the lings. I think we saw that yesterday in Group B as well.
Yeah, I think, well, it was mainly with Marines, I think. There wasn't any tanks, I don't think. But, yeah, that is definitely an option that Byun can go for and kind of abuse that little bit of a terrain area, and so it makes it really difficult for Solar to mine off of it if Byun does decide to go for it.
Right. Yeah, it looks like Byun is just gonna go ahead, sit back at home, make sure that his fourth base is up and running without any problems. This double drop is in a little bit of danger, but it is gonna pick up at the last minute. Make sure that the Marines live to fight another day. It looks like, yeah, Solar, you know, his creep spread is pretty decent. It's been denied in some places, but now the main push is coming out. This is a little bit quick for Byun. His 2-2 is going to finish in just a little bit, but of course the 2-2 for his Zerg opponent is also about to finish.
Yeah, so this is going to be a quite very scary Bioforce coming out of Byun, so Solar is really going to have to rely on these Baneling connections to connect. But with the micro of Byun, aka Micro Jackson, I mean, it's going to be quite difficult. Maybe you can kind of set up a little bit of a 360 surround.
Oh, I think that was what, one medevac worth of units that just got taken down, so not too good, but obviously not the end of the world. Now, this main Zergling force is just streaming on through. Banelings are going to connect. Zerglings are going to get on top of the tanks, and they are going to get some excellent shots on the Banelings, but of course, now all that's left are just a handful of Hydras left to deal with the rest of this bio force. So overall, I don't think that was a good trade for our blue Zerg player. Obviously, as the Zerg defending against the Terran, you never want to find yourself in a situation where you're desperate to go off of creep. It was good in that Solar was able to clean up pretty much all of the tanks, but of course, 2 more of them are going to be found to the east side. So, man, these tanks are just getting so much damage done. This tank has 23 kills and it's just barely been fighting for about a minute or so.
Yeah, I gotta say the pre-spread of the tanks really helped out during that engagement, and so, in combination with the off-creep fight as well that you mentioned, and then with the spread, I think Byun did pull a little bit ahead on that engagement, but of course it's still not over yet. Solar does have a decent amount of armies still left. Let's see here, how many Banelings? 14 Banelings, 8 Lurkers now. And here we go. These Lurkers are going to be so helpful in this fight. Let's see if Byun can snipe them. And oh, he catches these Lurkers.
Wait a second. Those Lurkers were out, like, without any support. A bunch of them were trying to run up onto the bio. And luckily enough, the majority of those Lurkers were not targeted. But now a small Ling run by is going to take care of just a handful of Lings. The main Lurker Ling force, along with 1 Viper with almost full energy, is going to go super deep off of creep, and it looks like Solar, he's just going to go for it. He's gunning for it, and he is probably smelling some blood. I mean, look at the supply, right? He is still maxed out. His opponent is most definitely not maxed out. He will pull back a lot of the Lings to deal with a single drop to the northwest, but that's about it. 7 SCVs are going down. More SCVs in the main are still vulnerable. These Lurkers have yet to be cleaned up. And it looks like this is Solar's game to lose right now.
Yeah, even if he is able to clean up these Lurkers, Byun is gonna... I mean, these Lurkers has pretty much gotten very, very efficient trades already, so... Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's gonna tap out. Solar is gonna go ahead and take the first game of the finals. Alright, so interestingly, Byun has decided not to go for a Reaper opening. Went straight into the reactor barracks here, so I wonder what he's going to go ahead and follow up this with. Maybe a... Let's see here. Oh, actually a factory, okay. Alright, it's looking like a 1-1-1 build.
Yeah, I think skipping out on the Reaper obviously gets your reactor a little bit quicker. I think Byun's goal maybe was to... I don't know, get the factory out quicker, get the Hellions out a little bit quicker, maybe?
Yeah, I think he's probably going to go for a... No, actually, wait, let's see here. Okay, I think he's just going to go for a Marine and then... Maybe some a Banshee opening. He can make the tech lab on the factory, switch it out with the starport.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. All right. Looks like we have 4 Marines searching for an Overlord to snipe.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting opener from Byun.
Oh, we have
oh,
2
you know
more.
what? Maybe he's going for BCs? Or maybe I'm just dreaming. I really want him to go for BCs.
Now that you mentioned it, I actually...
Right? He does have the gas for a fusion core. Nah, it's just gonna be Cloak Banshee. Damn. One can only hope.
Yeah, it was just too good to be true.
But I do like this small sort of squad of Marines that are moving out, right? Obviously they have much higher DPS than their Hellion counterparts, and then of course they can shoot up, so they can sort of make sure that no pesky overlords are out and about on the map, making sure that they can't really get too much information on the field.
Yeah, always great to deny the scout, as well as maybe possibly supply block Zerg player. However, unfortunately, there were no overlords flying in that area, so he will have to settle for maybe a couple of lings. Alright, Baneling Nest about to finish, so we're gonna have ourselves a Baneling kind of army here to start off here for Solar. I mean, I think he's just mainly gonna use it to kind of keep himself safe from any attacks. At least until he can kind of get out his maybe his Muleless or his Hydralisk or whatnot. In the meantime, we do see one Banshee coming in here. The Spore actually not quite done yet, so this Banshee can actually kill some decent amount of drones.
Yeah, it's actually going to get 3 all by itself before that Spore Crawler finally finishes. Is it going to get a 4th? Yeah, it is. Wow, so the Spore is just a little bit late. You know, it's going to cost Solar a lot of mining time and quite a few drones, actually. Wow, that really hurts for Solar. That's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, especially since the Banshee does go it does get alive out or get out alive, so he can join up with his Banshee buddy and just go on a one-shot drone shooting spree. As they do, of course, one-shot drones if you can kind of time them correctly.
Right. Now, I wonder why Solar decides to go for that 4th base, knowing that there are Banshees out on the map. I think that he probably trusts that his Queens will be able to defend against air units. His Queens will also be able to defend against drops, that kind of thing. And really, it bolsters the 3rd base location. I think it's because I'm just so accustomed to taking my 3rd base at the straight line location, rather than the triangle location, so I'm not used to seeing an expansion pattern like this, but of course, you know, I'm not the professional playing right now.
Right. I mean, like, I could understand why, because right now, you know, if you look at the vertical one, there are the rocks area where tanks can be sieged up behind, but if you look at the 6 o'clock base, it's a pretty wide open area, so Ling and Bailey can kind of get a better surface area to surround the Terran army with.
Yeah.
So I can understand why he wanted to go for this base, but yeah, sometimes I guess it's just really up to the Zerg players' likings. Here we go, Banelings are rolling in. Can they connect with the Marines? The Marines are actually doing a nice run around and will be able to kind of ignore those Banelings, but he does sacrifice those tanks because of that. So right now, Byun is going to have to rely on his Marine micro, but actually, you know what? Never mind. He's going to just go ahead and go for the drop.
Yeah, what an interesting little interaction, right? Keep the Marines alive, sacrifice the 1 tank, and honestly, in that case, yeah, if you're able to pick off a bunch of Banelings, just, you know, sacrificing that 1 tank, I'd say it's pretty worth it. But anyways, here we go. We do have a double drop spawned from the army to the south side. It is going to go into the main, see what damage it can get done, but these Marines are pretty overstimmed. Quite a few of them are going to lose their lives. I do like this drop positioning, though. You're going to be able to, you know, sacrifice some Marines and take down some more Banelings. And this is a critical mass of Marines that are coming in from the west side. I'm not too sure how they are going to be able to push all the way in, though, because that is a large number of Banelings ready to defend.
Yeah, that is 16 Banelings versus the 40 Marines of Byun. So we do have at least some tanks here to kind of focus fire on those Banelings. However, it's sometimes really difficult to focus fire on the Banelings while you're trying to micro your Marines and split them. So sometimes,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sometimes you don't see the tanks actually focus firing on the Banelings. But if the Banelings are clumped like that, that might be a different story.
Yeah, clumped is right. I mean, these Banelings and these Zerglings are just not finding the connections that they need to. They're coming in from one angle. Solar doesn't have a lot of creep to work with either, and these Marines are just going to stim on forward. Could this be yet another stim to win game?
It's looking very much like it. I mean, all the Bailings have been sniped down. Actually, there's only four Bailings here left on the field. Oh man, I think it's looking good. Yep, there we have it. GG out of Solar, and Byun, he ties up the series 1-1. Alright, so of course we have seen this map before. However, it was a PVZ between Astrea and Solar. We did see gold bases being taken off the bat. However, not the case this time around, as it is a bit more difficult against a Terran player.
Dang, I was so excited.
Yeah, especially against a playstyle like Byun, where he really wants to kind of force his opponent's hand and be a bit more aggressive. I mean, he is an aggressive player in general, so spawning or placing a hatchery at the gold base against someone by the likes of Byun, probably not the smartest idea.
Right. Yeah, I'm wondering if there are any Zerg all-ins that are in the meta against Terran right now. I'd say that, I mean, of course there probably are, but none of them would be Ling-based, right? They're all probably Ravager-based, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like maybe a Roach Ravager push of some
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
You could kind of mix in some Speedlings, because you're gonna probably have some leftover minerals. But yeah, the main, I guess, early timing push from Zerg in the ZVT definitely involves those Roach and Ravagers.
Right. Man, look at that very cute Reaper micro. Byun is just giving the Queen a runaround and actually comes close to actually taking down a second drone as well. Byun probably pretty happy with that. You know, it's also a mental thing, right? Once a Zerg loses a drone, and it's not even 3 minutes, they get pretty sad. I know, because I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah, it can lead to all sorts of depressions. I mean, you probably have to go ahead and see somebody because of that, like a psychologist or something,
Yeah.
to get over the trauma of losing a drone.
I know. I mean, lose 20 drones in the late game, that's fine, you know, but lose one in the early game? Oh, very, very traumatic.
It looks like this Reaper, this pesky Reaper, will get out. It has done a lot for its value in terms of scouting, in terms of harassment. It still keeps alive, or is still alive, so that maybe in the follow-up attack harassment involving these Hellions, he can kind of grenade the Queens, and that can allow the Hellions to actually bypass the Queens, go straight into the mineral line, and barbecue some drones. And oh my goodness, where is the Queens?
Ooh, this is definitely not a good situation for Solar. These Queens just were not in position. Look at that. Excuse me. A nade is going to go down on that ramp located Queen, and they're going to get up into the main base. This is a drone barbecue if I've ever seen one. Drones are being pulled off the line. 12 end up going down for, how many was that? That was 4 Hellions and a Reaper?
Yeah, oh my goodness, that was just absolutely beautiful to see from Byun.
Yeah.
He must be smiling right now in his seat. We don't have a player cam, but I would imagine he is very happy with that attack.
Yeah, it looks like, of course, since those Hellions did go down, Solar is gonna, you know, go out onto the map with the Lings, try to see whatever damage he can do. Ends up going back home, and really, he needs to recoup his losses ASAP.
Yeah, and not only did he lose the drones, but he forced out a lot of Lings. That means all those larvae that could have been drones are now spent on links that can't really do anything against a walled off Terran. I mean, there is still a opening. Okay, there we go. He does close it, but a walled off, pretty much a walled off Terran with Hellions, and so these lings are pretty much useless.
I will say props to Solar for making sure that he keeps up on at least one of his upgrades. Okay, there we go. So we do see 1-1 starting for our Blue Zerg, just to make sure that the upgrade window for Byun isn't too large. But another 4 Hellions are going to shark around the map. I'm telling you, I love this map because of that one watchtower smack dab in the middle. It's such a powerful position, you know?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of attacks really has to go through that middle. If not, then the player that's attacking has to circumvent around, and it takes a little bit of a longer time. So having that vision in the middle really helps out. Oh, I gotta say, I do like this little bit of a supply depot wall that's kind of currently building at the bottom of the natural. That kind of really blocks out one of the avenues in which Solar can kind of go for those backdoor stab with lings, or maybe,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
maybe even bailing run bys, you know?
Yeah, I like this. It's like a second, it's like an auxiliary wall. I like it, yeah. In the meantime, it looks like 1-1 is about to finish for our Red Terran player, and he is going to go for a push. We have the Hellbats in front, ready to tank some damage. We do have Banelings on the high ground. Do they have speed? No, they do not have speed just yet. In fact, Baneling speed just started, so it's a little bit of a precarious situation for Solar. A bunch of those Baneling eggs are going to get cancelled, or, the Marines are going to jump on top of them, but the rest of these Banelings are rolling on through. They do clean up a lot of the Marines, but is it going to be enough? We do see some Marines are still left. 3 Queens are also left for the Zerg, but 3 Queens is definitely not enough to deal with this right now. So this is a pretty scary push. I mean, it's not even that committed. Byun is just macroing up back at home. It looks like some of his workers also did go down, but these Marines are still not done. They're going to pick up and drop off in the main. No, I'm sorry, not the main. They're going to drop off right on the Reaper ledge. Oh, Byun.
Oh man, this is so annoying. These lings can't really touch these Marines. Okay, there we go. He's gonna go ahead and fly into the main base, as that medevac is quite low on life. Oh my god,
And now the reinforcements are coming in. These Marines are just going to go ahead and stem directly onto the high ground. Widowmines are going to engage. They're not going to get the best detonations, but they don't really need to. Queens are going to come back to reinforce, but GG is called. Byun takes this game. Yeah, it looks like everything is pretty standard for both of our players. The only real deviation is that the barracks for Byun is not in the wall location. I wonder why that is. Is he's trying to fake out any sort of Overlord or Ling Scout? Is that what it is? But yeah, I don't know. That's a little bit strange to me. What do you think?
Yeah, I have seen some Terrans do this, and it always kind of a little bit of a, I guess, a brain scratcher, because it's like playing with fire. I suppose, like, if imagine if Solar did a mass Ling attack right now, like that opening. Well, I guess, you know what, even if he did, I guess he should be able to manage to throw down a supply depot to block. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. But I guess I could understand it, because the way the layout is, that it does kind of set up a weird building placement for the reactor or the tech lab. So I guess Byun doesn't want to deal with that, and so he just builds it back into this, deeper into his main base.
Yep, well, in any case, it looks like it will be possibly a Hellion drop type of situation. We do see a pretty quick medevac. Oh no, it's going to be a single drop, I believe. The Marines are going to come out, since that is a tech lab on the factory.
Yeah, looks like gonna go ahead and drop the Marines into. Oh, actually, you know what? Maybe he's just gonna join up with the rest of his Hellions and Reapers, or I guess single Reaper there. Or maybe he just wants to. Yeah, okay, never mind. He's just gonna go ahead and circumvent the slow zones. So Marines into the main while the Hellions attack the dark base. Yeah, looks like Solar's on top of it. He's like pretty much has his lings in place. These Hellions though are gonna go ahead and fry up some 3 drones, but these lings might get us around here. Ooh, just barely.
Wow, I always forget how slippery Reapers and Hellions are.
Yeah, they're kind of coated with those motor oil, so they're very
Yeah,
very
definitely.
slippery. Yeah.
Now, I do like this follow-up. We are going to see a Roachhorn, a little bit different from previous games. I think Solar is aiming for a more Ravager-heavy style, possibly, but we're going to have to wait and see.
Alright, Overlord should be able to spot this Liberator. But is he paying attention? It looks like he might not be, actually. Oh boy.
Ooh, that Liberator is getting in some pretty decent damage. 3 drones go down before the Spore Crawler moves into place. Now it's going to be the single drop taking down the first Overlord. Not too much damage, right? They're just trying to poke and prod, see whatever damage they can do, which is, of course, how you should approach this matchup in Terran versus Zerg.
Well, looks like Byun might want to try the main base here with this little bit of a medevac. Oh, actually 2 more medevacs being flown over. Did the Ling see it? I think they might have just caught a glimpse of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was enough. Looks like some of the Lings are going to split off to head back home. One of them is going to go off to scout, but 3 medevacs full of units are just going to drop directly into the main. So far uncontested. 5-6 drones are going to go down already. Yeah, this is pretty scary. We do also have that tank with its higher DPS able to shell away at the roaches for just a little bit. 10 drones do go down. I think this is a little bit unexpected for Solar. Solar is probably not really, you know, ready for this kind of thing, because otherwise he would not be taking so much damage. And I think that you know, possibly going Roach Ravager is the correct call, because it's a much more stable kind of composition. You know, Lings and Banes, you can lose them in an instant, but Roaches and Ravagers, they take a little bit longer to not only deal damage, but take damage. Although, speaking of which, we do see a bunch of Lings going all the way up into the main, dealing a little bit of damage. Now, these Marines are on site, able to deal with it, but that was pretty interesting. I wonder how the Lings got all the way past both walls.
There was this Drop-A-Lord here, and unfortunately does get sniped there. So yeah, it looks like he did some a little bit of a drop play.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we are going to see a Hive follow-up, and I'm pretty sure we might see a Lurker transition. So from Roach Ravager into Roach Ravager Lurker. I'm always a big fan of Lurkers. I call them Spiky Banelings. I think, you know, somebody called them Spiky Banelings after watching one of, I believe it was Armani's games. Yeah, it was Armani, and he would just run them all the way up and then burrow right in front of your tanks, and it was a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, man, Lurkers, of course, one of the OG units from Brood War. StarCraft, or the Blizzard brought them over. They weren't available in Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm, but yeah, Blizzard has finally made them available in Legacy of the Void, and they have definitely had a place in the game thus far, as they are quite strong with their spiky spikes.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I mean, we do have Roaches on the production tab right now, but these Marines have been doing a pretty decent job keeping the Zerg occupied, keeping the Zerg back. And really, with that many tanks as well as a Liberator in the back for backup, I don't see any way that this gold base is going to live. And yeah, Solar's just going to go straight for the counterattack. I do like that move. Oh, is he? No, he's going to pull... Okay, looks like the Lings are going to counterattack, but the Roach Ravager is going to stay at home just for a bit more presence.
Yeah, unfortunately for Solar, didn't really quite get anything for that Ling counterattack, as Byun was able to stem his units to defend, and now pretty much Solar lost the base for pretty much for free. He was trying to bank on that counterattack to at least make up for the sacrifice hatchery at the gold, but wasn't able to get anything. Maybe you'll get something right here with a second run by.
Yeah, this is definitely a good move, right? Whenever you have extra Lings, you want to constantly be running by with them. You want to, you know, maybe pause for a bit and try to regroup, maybe catch the Terran off guard with yet another push. But I think the Terran is the one catching the Zerg off guard. Look at that, a cancel on the 5th base. Obviously, I'm counting the 4th base as the gold, but like this is just really not looking good for Solar. I mean, his supply is up. He's got the Vipers out, but if he keeps on losing bases, his opponent is going to catch up to him in the base count, in the worker count, or not in the worker count, but in the economy, and then it's just not that is not the position that the Zerg needs to be in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, and with the way that Byun is playing right now, I actually wondering if Solar will be able to even get his 4th base up. I mean, Byun is one of those players that just constantly harass and attacks, and I'm sure he knows that the 4th base is being made on the other side, near the gold side base. So he might actually go ahead and just load up like 2-3 medevacs, go for the drop, and then maybe go for a drop into the main base, or maybe even attack that triangular base as is like being made right now. There is like a really horrible lack of creep coming out of Solar, so it's gonna make it a bit more difficult to engage for him. He really needs to work on that.
Oh yeah, like you said, the lack of creep really hurts, coupled with the slow zones, and that is not where you need to be engaging with melee units, right? Now a huge group of lurkers are gonna find their way into the 3rd base. They are gonna start, you know, attacking the supply depots, and then obviously trying to break through the tank line, but I don't think it's possible just yet. But all in all, you know, both armies are getting more and more lethal. They're getting their upgrades. Ghosts are coming out 4 at a time. What a ridiculous number. Obviously, ghosts are very valuable in the late game for their snipes and that kind of thing. Nidus Worm also going up. A lot of those lurkers, I believe, died, so that was... Oh no, I'm sorry, they retreated. But yeah, I think that Solar is trying to get a little bit more aggressive right now.
Yeah, he's trying to find an opening, but Byun has every avenue covered. His defense is really well fortified, and it's making it really difficult for Solar to break through. He's going to go ahead and attempt it here at this 3 o'clock at base, but these tanks, oh my god, like 6 tanks here on the backside, is going to go ahead and scurry them off. Alright, looks like Ghost has entered the fray, which means, you know what that means, right?
We're about to see some nukes. No, I'm kidding.
We're gonna hear
well,
a
I mean,
lot.
that is a possibility.
Oh yeah, that's true, that's true. But we're gonna hear a lot of pew 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 pew.
Yeah. Obviously, the pew pews are not just the Protoss thing, right? I think Zergs are the only ones that can't do the pew pew, but alas, that's how the races are distributed. Yeah, a lot of movement, you know. I am lagging a little bit, so I can't really tell what the ghosts are trying to do, but looks like they are just going to hold the front line for now. The lurkers are going to stay on the creep for now, just, you know, make sure the main bioforce is kept at bay. Of course, there is that Nidus Worm going up to the north in case the roaches and lings need a quick path out to retreat. I do like this run by, right? You want to be trading out your lower tier units in the late game, possibly for maybe a more Lingbane heavy type of composition, maybe more Vipers, more Lurkers, that kind of thing. And they are actually going to get a decent number of SCVs killed as well, but at the same time, this Bioforce is going to come in and trade almost exactly the same number out yet again.
There were some beautiful EMPs on the Vipers as well, so these Vipers are going to be pretty much inactive in the next couple of minutes, and looks like Solar are going to go ahead and attempt another run by. Actually getting a decent amount here at the triangular base, but Byun's army is looking still quite scary. He's on 3-3. So, okay, the +3 armor of Solar just finished, so looks like both of these players will be on equal upgrade. But it's gonna come down to the army composition, I feel like. And this gold-based hatch is gonna go ahead and get taken down by these cloak ghosts. No overseer to speak of. 4 overseers being morphed in for those. And he's definitely gonna need a lot of overseers, because right now there's like 17 ghosts on the field, which means a lot of snipes.
Yeah, you know, I've never seen this in a pro game where the Zerg has a sort of Ling Bane Lurker type of army, and then they actually transition into Infestors. I think Cyril might have done it with a Roach Ravager army once. But yeah, I would just love to see a couple of really good Fungals, and then that would take care of all the ghosts. Because right now, they are the biggest threat to the Zerg. Ooh, looks like a pretty risky pickup. There is also going to be a Parasitic Bomb going down on the Medevac. Lings did actually find a very good opening, collapsing on top of a lot of the bio. Banelings are going to make some pretty decent connections as well. Hydras are going to push on through. Lurkers are going to burrow. I think this is the opening that Solar has been waiting for.
Yeah, I mean, he is kind of losing steam though. There's no lurkers actually to speak of, or left over anymore, and it did look actually quite good for a second there for Solar, but again, the defender's advantage did favor Byun, and he managed to clean up. Now, granted, he did lose 22 SCVs, but at this point, at this stage of the game, where he has like 1 billion CCs and command centers and orbitals, that's not the most detrimental thing. He can kind of mule up in order to make up those lost SCVs. So as long as he can kind of keep the base count of the Zerg in check, he should be able to keep up.
Yeah, definitely. We're reaching the point in the game where SCVs don't actually matter too much.
Alright, looks like the map is slowly but surely kind of being split here down the middle. Oh, some beautiful catches there. A bunch of lurkers. If you can kind of lower the lurker count as much as possible, then it makes it much easier during that huge engagement. That means that you can spend less NG of those ghosts to snipe off those lurkers, and more of them to snipe off those Vipers, or maybe even the Overseers instead. But it looks like there is still, let's see here, 8 lurkers on the field, so decent amount. But you should probably be making a bit more than 8.
Yeah, I think 8 lurkers by themselves are not going to be able to stand up to 14 tanks and 11 ghosts. I'd say that right now, at this moment, Byun's army is much more high-tech.
Yeah, Byun's army is more geared towards the really later game. And Solar, his is kind of heading that way, but he still needs a little bit more work to be done, despite the fact that he is actually maxed out right now.
Okay, Lings are going to try to find an opening. They are going to trade out for a few of these tanks that have been left alone. You know, always a good trade, but Yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Snoopy. I feel like, Byun definitely kind of has the upper hand right now, and I've seen many games where the Terran is on 4 to 5 bases, creep is surrounded, it's completely surrounding them, and the Zerg still loses, right? So the fact that Byun is able to keep the creep back. Now, as I say that, there are a lot of these lurkers that will get taken out by snipes, which is pretty good. But yeah, I think that the Terran is definitely in a pretty good spot right now.
Oh,
Ooh,
but
as I
actually,
say that though, yeah, another couple of overseers along with a bunch of lings are gonna come back and clean up the rest of it. Wow.
yeah, that actually cleans up the rest of the ghosts. There are no ghosts on the field. At one point, he was sitting at 17 ghosts. Now, all those ghosts have disappeared. It almost seems like they turned into ghosts, as there are nowhere to be found.
Oh man.
Or they turn into John Cena and you can't see him. But yes, we did see them all get taken out, and yeah, I think that might actually be the turnaround that Solar really needed. Now Byun, now granted, Byun does have that base there on the top right still left open for him to take. So if this game goes on to the very late stages of the game, then it does favor Byun because he's gonna have resources left over to mine off of from. So yeah, we'll see if it does reaches that point, or if Solar can break Byun somehow before then.
Yeah, I'd say earlier that was a pretty good supply lead after all of the ghosts were taken out, but it's still one wrong engagement, right? One wrong move, and Byun will take this game straight out from under Solar's nose. Now, these Lings and Banes are running around on creep, making sure that they can keep up with whatever Byun's movements are, but we see yet another Ling run by. I like this a lot, right? Solar has obviously confirmed time and time again that this base at the Triangle 3rd location is indeed an orbital, and orbitals cannot fire at enemies unlike planetaries. They are pretty vulnerable to run by, so I do like the constant running by that Solar is trying to initiate. Now, this Bioforce from Byun is going to try to take out this center base, and I think it is going to be successful. Solar is not willing to risk it. Oh, is he? I don't know about that. Okay, well, it does keep back the bio for a little bit longer, but that hatch is getting very, very low on health. Now, this run by is still dealing damage. Finally, the tanks and the Marauders are able to take it out, but not after the Lings take down 8 SCVs with them.
Yeah, there's just so much action going across or happening across the map. I do see that hatchery does finally go down at 12 o'clock, but you know what? Solar's like, it doesn't matter. I'm taking the 6 o'clock. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I guess that is one of the strengths of Zerg, right? You're able to take bases pretty quickly, given that they are cheaper, but at the same time, this main force of Lings and Banes are going to stream on through to the gold base, trying to roll through and take out whatever they can, although this is a mostly Marauder-heavy army. They are going to clean up a lot, and I think just barely, I think this is it. Solar must have finally broken through, because if you look at the supply, Solar is about 50 supply ahead. 17 SCVs have gone down as well. Looks like the Lings are going to regroup in the center of the map once again, but that was a pretty big push, and I don't think Byun was all too ready for it.
Yeah, there was just so much bailing on the ground, and it looks like Solar, he is not ready to tap on out of this tournament. He wants to force a game 5 for kind of the opportunity to win it all. And it's looking very possible as he is in the driver's seat right now. However, as we have seen in the past, Byun, when he's behind, he is scary. He is deadly. He's one of those players that are actually better when he's behind. And so don't count Byun out yet, quite yet.
Yeah, obviously, whatever happens next is going to be critical for either player, right? Byun is definitely not out of the game, but he has gotten himself into a less advantageous position. Ooh, very nice EMP, gonna force that Viper back for the time being. I do like that single lurker, making sure that no minerals can be mined from the gold base just for now. But look at that, 4 snipes are gonna take it out in an instant. I do like this relocating. Very Ling heavy army is gonna stream on through. Lings, of course, very cheap, very efficient with their time, able to just stream on through. Very good for reinforcing, but not really good for staying power. Ghosts are gonna, you know, initiate some snipes, gonna kill some of those Hydralisks, and all of a sudden, just like that, the supplies are evened up yet again.
Yeah, it's just amazing how Byun somehow, some way finds different ways to keep himself alive. And looks like he is doing this exact same thing right now. He's still quite behind in the economy, but again, he still has that top right base that he can kind of take. But at the same time, Solar has taken the 2 middle bases, which is not good news for our Blue Terran.
Yeah, despite that, it looks like the Terran is the one with the bank. So, oh man, what a close game. The Lings and Banes are going to stream on through. Lurkers are going to try to burrow. Oh, but accidentally some of the Zerglings are going to burrow as well. Probably a misclick. I've had that happen to me so many times, more than I'd like to count. All of a sudden, the supplies are almost dead even. I think Byun might just have made a crazy comeback. Good blinding cloud, but it's pretty much rendered useless as the Marines will retreat off of creep.
Oh man, it's just absolutely insane to see that Byun has a chance right now. I mean, just a moment ago, he was down by like, I don't know, like 50 or 75 supply or something like that. Something crazy like that.
Yeah. It was like a 50 supply lead.
Yeah, he looked like he was dead in the waters. Like, how has he managed to put himself in this position? And he's gonna take down another hatchery here.
Oh man, could this be game? I mean, the Zerg still has the supply lead, but the Zerg most definitely does not have the momentum. Now, these Zerglings are doing pretty good work. They are going to run by, try to kill whatever they can. Looks like in the natural, a bunch of supply depots are going to be killed off. Some of the Zerglings are also going to be... Oh, but look at that! A massive misclick! Huge mistake by Solar, burrowing every single one of his army units at the front. Oh no, Solar, not like this!
Oh man, I want to put the not like this duck emote right there.
Yeah, that was... Oh, that is not how you want to close out a game, right? You want to finish strong, but I mean, I'm not blaming him, right? This is super difficult to keep up with somebody like Byun. But just, oh man, that really hurts.
Yeah, he must have some like wrong hockey or something, cause I play some Terran, or sorry, not Terran. No, I play some Zerg, so and that has happened to me in the past. And I think he has something mixed up or something. But at this level, the pro level, is like you don't quite see this happen every day, so it's quite surprising.
I think what the case was that a bunch of Zerglings were doing a run-by, and they had successfully killed the supply depots in the natural, but then Solar wanted to burrow those, and they were probably in the same hotkey as his main army.
Yeah, that must be it.
Yeah, but look at that. These Marines still getting whatever value they can, killing off that hatch, and oh man, just doing really good work. Now both players are struggling to find any sort of mineral income. You know, like the bases for Byun have been shuffled around so often. The bases for Solar have been rebuilt time and time again. Really, if Solar just had a little bit more creep spread, he would be in a much better position. But again, he is not the one with the supply lead. How did Byun do it? Wow.
I know, right? It's the $1 million question. He's just absolutely crazy and insane. And then now he has a chance to close it out. Just a few minutes ago, I was thinking, oh, we are heading to a game number 5, but all of a sudden, I'm thinking this finals might actually end in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, really, seriously, I feel like there are only a handful of players that can do this, right? You've got Dark for the Zerg, probably Stats for Protoss, and then Byun for Terran, They're just these ridiculous comebacks. Wow, just wow.
Yeah, and do we have a nuke actually out on the...
Oh, oh, okay. It's
Okay.
gonna be a snipe, which is still pretty valuable. I always hate it when my lurker eggs are sniped because it's like, you know, they're not doing anything. But again, it is my fault for leaving them out in the open like that.
Alright, looks like Solar attempting another run by. Valiant effort. I like the idea, but it looks like Byun was already kind of prepared for it as he had some units parked there. Or at least, at the very least, rallied it there. Now, a lot of these bases of Byun are not planetaries. They are, in fact, orbitals to allow him to keep up in the economy because he's pretty much behind in the worker count throughout this whole game, so he needed the extra orbitals. However, with the orbitals, that means that, you know, Ling run-bys are more deadlier, so Byun's gonna have to definitely keep his eye out for that. Looks like Byun is gonna go ahead and once again take this 12 o'clock hatchery. It seems like Solar has absolutely no luck keeping that base alive.
Yeah, excellent use of just a tiny, tiny little contingent of Marines and Marauders. You know, just making sure that they can do their damage and then retreat back with within range of the tanks once again. This single drop to the south side is, wow, it's still getting some damage done. Byun is just relentless right now, and he is just about to max out, I would say.
Yeah, he is about 15 or 20 or so supply away from maxing out, and that is a pretty scary army there. Let's see here: 71 Marines, 8 tanks, 5 ghosts, 15 Marauders versus, wow, that's over 100 Lings, 4 Lurkers only though, and then 21 Bailings.
Yeah, the lurker count, you know, it was pretty good at the start of lurker tech, but now it's just not enough. Man, I feel so bad for Solar because I've lost so many games like this, you know, I have an advantage, and then somehow, some way, my opponent rips it from me.
Alright, looks like both players are just not quite ready to commit, and I don't blame them because the game is still quite a little bit up in the air, although I would give the advantage to Byun right now, but you know, maybe a couple of bailing connections, maybe the lurkers get on top of the clumped up bio army and just absolutely wipe them out. A lot of things can still happen, so both players are just playing it just a little bit careful to make sure they don't throw this game away.
Yeah, like you said, Snoopy, all it takes is one bad engagement, and then all of a sudden the tide could swing in favor of the other player. But yeah, I don't know about this one, right? Like, there are so many Lings, but Lings are definitely not the only unit that you need. Okay, they are going to run on forward. Good blinding clouds on a couple of the tanks, but is it going to be enough? Lurkers have burrowed, but most of the bio is still way, way far in the back, although there are a lot of Banelings. Some decent connections are going off. But the suit does not lie, and it looks like Byun is about to take this series. GG is called. Byun wins 3-1.